Morning, everyone. Time for our weekly devotion. And again, coming out of the life journals that we had some pretty decent reading this morning. A lot of stuff, but the one thing that really stood out to me was reading through Psalms 139. Psalms 139 is a great, great psalm. David has an awareness of God that few people really have ever, I think, even experienced, and that's really a shame. But before I get into that, I had one of the jobs that I had while I was in the Coast Guard. I got one ship, which, looking back on it, I sort of regret. Was I able to do it all over again, I probably would have gotten underway a little bit more, but that's beside the point. On board my cutter, we would participate in what was called refresher training. We'd go play with the Navy for a couple of weeks, and we would run through drills. We would just be all day long. We'd just be running drills and pretending like we were at war and stuff. And my job was to be up on the pilot house and to coordinate all of the information that was coming in and relay it to the command. And the command would give orders to various people, and I would go ahead and relay those orders to everybody, and things would get carried out. They didn't have a lot of imagination when I was going through this, and so they would run the same drills all the time. And like the third time that we went through RefTray, it was the same stuff. And so I started drawing on this board that I had, which was a deck plan of the cutter, and we would keep track of what was going on where and stuff. And so I wrote the drill out even before we were going through the thing. And the shipwrighter, the Navy guy who was observing us, he looked at me and says, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm writing the drill out. He says, "You don't know what we're going to do." I said, "This is my third goat roping, okay? I got a pretty good idea." He says, "Yeah, we'll see." I hit it 100%. It was just kind of funny. But again, it's that idea. I mean, Psalm 139, verse 16, David said this. He says, "Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them." And though I wasn't quite that clever, I'd gone through this a couple of times before, I knew what was going to happen because of my experience. And God knew ages ago every experience, every decision, every occurrence that was going to happen in all of our lives. And we have they're written down somehow or another. And the thing is that some people would be a little bit uncomfortable with this idea, and oh well, I can't escape my destiny. God already wrote it down. He already determined it. No, it's not like that. God didn't write a directive. He wrote a narrative. Now, unlike the books of Samuel, Kings and Chronicles, these books weren't written while they were happening, but in his absolute positive care for you, his absolute love for you. Remember also in 139, David says that the good thoughts that you think toward me outnumber the very sand on the seashore. And so everything that we have done or everything we will do, God already knows. And again, it's not a directive. It's not tell him to turn right here. He's going to turn right here, and this is what's going to happen, and this is what I'm going to do with it. And so nothing of what we go through is wasted with God. Nothing about what happens to us is any kind of a surprise to him. He's not, you never see God scratching his head going, what the heck am I going to do with all of this? It just doesn't happen because he knows. And the great thing is he knows, and he still thinks good thoughts towards us. That's the amazing part is, okay, Lord, you know what kind of a dummy I am. You know exactly the times that I'm going to just absolutely positively disappoint you. Again, God knew what David was going to do with Bathsheba. God knew he was going to wind up killing her husband after he got her pregnant. And yet David still could write, "The good thoughts you think toward me outnumber the sand of the seashore." God could still say of David, "He's a man after my own heart." And I think that we need to take encouragement by that. I think that we need to understand that, yeah, we're going to blow it, but we're not going to take God by surprise, and he's not going to change his opinion of us. That's another thing about this. We cannot disappoint God, because in order to disappoint somebody, you have to have some sort of an unmet expectation. God doesn't have those. And the good thought he thinks about you outnumber the grains of sand in the seashore. Hang on to that, because that's gotta help. I know it helps me. I really hope that this helps you. All right, we'll talk to you later. Love you.